Odell Beckham Jr. has been in the news this week after outrage on social media at the way he was being used by the Cleveland Browns. Beckham has this week switched it up to the LA Rams after his position at the Browns became untenable. Today we're discussing Odell Beckham Jr.'s bitter trade from the Browns to the Rams and other bitter trades from NFL history, so stay with us. First up, we're discussing recent events surrounding Beckham. Beckham's relationship with the Cleveland Browns went from bad to worse this week and was the obvious catalyst for his trade out west to the Los Angeles Rams. The ante was upped on Tuesday after Beckham Sr. posted a video on Instagram detailing missed opportunities to pass to his son. LeBron also tweeted with the hashtag #FreeOBJ, which was a little over the top. The Browns certainly raised eyebrows when they acquired OBJ to line up alongside Jarvis Landry. It hasn't quite gone to plan for either the Browns or Odell during his time in Ohio, and the wide receiver has struggled to find form. There's no denying how good he was in New York, posting 3 1,300-yard receiving seasons and 5 on the East Coast. He hasn't gotten near that form since rocking it up in Cleveland. In 2019, he caught 74 for 1,035 yards throughout the season, which was a career low for the talented catcher. Injuries have also been a problem during his time with the Browns, and he missed half of last season with a torn ACL. When he returned, his form was just as poor. The video Beckham Sr. posted online highlighted what he thinks was tactical naivety from the GM in not using his son properly. He was traded Thursday to the Rams in an unceremonious exit. No love will be lost between OBJ and the Browns GM Mayfield, and he'll be hoping to reignite his career in Cali. Next up, we're talking Brett Favre. Stay with us. The Packers have had their fair share of decent quarterbacks throughout their storied history. None more so than Brett Favre. For 16 years, Favre was the man in Wisconsin, and he and everybody else knew it. He was a generational talent for sure and was adored in Green Bay. That was until he announced his retirement in 2007, something which he had done before, might we add. With the news he would be hanging up the cleats, the Packers replaced him with Aaron Rodgers. All pretty standard, right? So what's the problem? Well, Favre did a U-turn on his planned retirement and decided he wanted another season in Green Bay. By this point, Rodgers had been made the starting QB, and the team and management had started the process of life without Favre. This did not sit well with the gunslinger, and he headed to the East Coast and started life with the New York Jets. He never forgave the Packers and even ended up signing with their regional rivals, the Minnesota Vikings, for the last 2 seasons of his career. It seems to us like Favre didn't like not being the big man in Green Bay anymore and spat his dummy out. What did you guys think of this one? Let us know below. The all-time GOAT is up next, Tom Brady himself. Brady is easily the most successful player in NFL history with 7 Super Bowl titles to his name. Yes, 7. A Patriot icon, he will probably never have to buy a beer again in New England. But right now, he's turning out for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers after a big fallout with head coach Bill Belichick made Brady surplus to requirements, which really is a shame after what he's done for the franchise. Never being on each other's Christmas card list during their time together, Brady and Belichick were at least civil and had what some would say was a good working relationship. One incident after another chipped away at their relationship, though, Deflategate being one such incident. Another incident that angered Brady was when Belichick refused to let Brady's personal trainer on a team plane. This came before he was rumored to be unhappy about not being appreciated enough by the Pats fans. Then came the Antonio Brown saga with Brady not being happy he was cut. We kind of disagree with you on this one, Tom. When all said and done, there were too many incidents between the two, and something had to give, with Brady eventually packing his bags for Florida. Who knows? One day we might see Brady back at Gillette Stadium should Belichick give it up in the next couple of seasons. Have you ever had a bad working relationship with a boss? Give us all the gory details below. Jamal Adams joins us next. Stick around. During the last decade, the Jets were that team who always picked up great rookies, but were never able to integrate them, or their more established stars in anything near a Super Bowl winning team. They have stagnated for years, with their only Super Bowl win coming over 50 years ago in 1969. Adams noticed the above and decided he wanted out after also falling out with GM Joe Douglas. He left after a bitter dispute with the Jets, mainly about having to play for Adam Gase, who Adams did not rate as a coach. During his time at the Jets, he still made 2 Pro Bowl appearances, even with the state of the team being pretty dire, which is a great achievement for the strong safety. He now plies his trade out west for the Seattle Seahawks. Seahawks. We hope you like the rain, Jamal. What did you make of the Jets during Adams' time with them? Up next is Deshaun Watson. Don't go making that cup of tea just yet. Similar to the Jets of the 2010s, the Houston Texans almost outdid them as an example of how not to run a franchise last season. After losing DeAndre Hopkins and J.J. Watt in some pretty poor pieces of business, DeAndre decided it was time to call it in Texas. There was no shortage of options for Watson after he had just posted the best numbers in Texan history. The Jets and the Dolphins were sniffing around, but any potential moves were scuppered after allegation of sexual assault broke against the star QB, which have flushed Watson's reputation down the toilet, as well as any dreams of a trade. Although technically not a trade, the situation is an utter mess. It's still ongoing. Watson's situation is one of the most toxic, bitter trade stories in years. Where do you see Watson ending up? Joe Montana joins us next. Legend alert. Joe Montana, a name synonymous with the position of quarterback. Many NFL fans still see Montana as the greatest QB, and although that might be difficult to argue after the emergence of Tom Brady in the 21st century, he was the first true superstar QB. He was a staple in the San Francisco 49ers team of the 1980s, but disaster struck when an elbow injury cost him 2 seasons in the early 90s. Steve Young had proved his effectiveness in the 2 years Montana was out, and the Niners assured Young he would be their starting QB going forward. To say this irked Montana would be an understatement of epic proportions. He immediately demanded a transfer, but San Francisco were aware fans would almost certainly take the side of the franchise legend and tried to reinstate Montana. By this time, the damage had been done and Montana was off to the Kansas City Chiefs. What a shame his time with the Niners ended like that after so much success. Next up, we have a guy everyone loves to hate. It's Terrell Owens. Stay with us. Terrell Owens is one of those rare players that fans and teammates alike tolerate because of the raw talent they possess, and what a nightmare he could be. A super talented wide receiver, there wasn't a quarterback he played with who enjoyed the rear bashings he was known to dish out. He alleged Jeff Garcia was gay, which was both homophobic and unfair to the quarterback. And quite frankly, so what if he was? He isn't for the record. That incident did absolutely nothing to endear him to Garcia and the rest of the roster. Another bust-up came during his time in Philly with the Eagles, which involved teammate Donovan McNabb. McNabb had accused Owens of being a distraction and behaving unprofessionally, going in on him and saying that it was his fault why the championship-winning team had been broken up. Probably a fair assessment, to be honest. Owens was interviewed and asked if the Eagles would be performing better if Brett Favre, who we mentioned earlier, shout out to Brett, was on the team. Owens' reply was not well thought out. That's a good assessment. I'd agree with that. I mean, not his finest moment, and obviously McNabb was infuriated. It was press and gossip gold, however. Needless to say, like many of the NFL teams he played for, he was shipped out soon after. The relationship between him and the Eagles remains bitter to this day. What's your best or worst memory of Owens? Let us know below. Is there anyone we've missed off on our list today? Let us know in the comments if we have, and as always, thanks for tuning in today, guys, and remember to join us next time for some more banter. Bye, guys.